I want to welcome everybody to the new channel. We've migrated over here because for some reason, YouTube algorithm has picked up one of my old movie review videos and pushed it very hard, which has given a lot of exposure that I would not have normally gotten all around the world. So thank you, algorithm. I still find you a mystery, but we're going to go ahead and do the dramatic physique videos along with the movie reviews and some music. We're going to just combine everything. And so hence the name change from Hillbilly Jake to Dramatic Physique. And the guys that are familiar, the few people that have been watching the Dramatic Physique videos with my experiments and so forth, will recognize the format, but also maybe see some of the movie reviews. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not the most polished presenter, but I do have a lot of fun making those, and I only pick movies that are enjoyable to watch. So if I review a movie, you can be rest assured that if you are high, you will enjoy it. So just a quick update here. I am drinking the second cup of coffee with Ecdysterone syrup in it. And this is a little bit of a continuation from what you're about to see. This is not going to be in chronological order, but I thought this would be a good introduction to the channel for people that aren't familiar with this. Ecdysterone is a plant sterol that has had a lot of controversy lately under the terkesterone title, which come to find out there's not a lot of terkesterone in just about any product. So we're going so everybody in the industry is going to go ecdysterone. Now I didn't try to push for terkesterone because I wanted to originally make an injectable ecdysterone. I felt like that was the most efficient way to find out if it really did anything. And guess what? It really does. I've done so much research, I've read so much, and I've enjoyed it. And I've gotten some great input from a few people around the world. One is Yajit over at Yajit Lifts on Instagram. Very interesting stuff that he does in his own personal routines. He's got a great physique. He knows how to maintain it. And I'm guessing we're around the same age, so that really helps me feel at home as an older gym rat. And another one is a fella named Marwin over on Instagram also, who has been very helpful, very insightful. And I want to just thank both of you two guys for all of your input and the brainstorming sessions. I love it. So without further ado, let's get into this experiment that I'm doing. I'll explain it a little bit more. And just for the record, this is about an hour in. And guess what? Yes, I am seeing some nitric oxide boost, I would say. For myself, it's still a little too early to tell, but as soon as I drank my first cup with a quarter of my day's supply of, theoretically anyway, if this is working and it's getting to a 6% bioavailability like I would like, I'm seeing some insta pump. Okay, I'm not super pumped. I've been honestly sick for about 3 weeks. I had this bad head cold and yada yada, and I've been backing off the gym, so I'm a little down in size. But and also, I'm on nothing extra. I'm on 175 milligrams of testosterone per week, which is my standard TRT dose. I'm 6'2", about 200 pounds. And for whatever reason, I don't know, it's just my body chemistry. That's what keeps me in normal range. The clinic that handles that for me keeps me right at, 500 to 700 nanograms per deciliter. And that's where I like to be for health and for muscle gains and that sort of thing. So here we are, second glass. And honestly, the stuff does not taste too bad. It's in basically a glycerin and water base, so it has a sweet taste. The ecdysterone itself has a little bit of an earthy flavor to it. It tastes like an herbal tea to some extent, so it doesn't mix bad with coffee or tea or something like that. I add stevia to my coffee, and that helps with the taste of my coffee, which is already excellent coffee, to be honest with you. I brew up some green coffee beans, and it's all fresh, and it's very low acidity. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. Enjoy this first experiment, and you can kind of see where we're picking up at. I'm working towards making an oral ecdysterone syrup product that will be very easily usable for everybody. And if I have good results over the next week, I keep putting off my fast, but this last week or so before that, I will test out this new oral product, and we'll see with normal gym normal gym experiences. We'll test strength. It's not a long enough of a test to test overall strength and that sort of thing. But just knowing my own body, I'll see if I think it's viable at all. So enjoy, and let's get into it.
Okay, so what we've got here, I didn't feel like putting the mask on today. Okay, that's too silly. But what we've got here is a very hillbilly home brew that I'm working on for an oral syrup version of Ecdysterone. And what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and complex it. Now, what I've used, the reason this is so dark brown is I'm using the Double Woods, the Double Woods brand 50% mix. I had some left over and I thought, well, this would be a fun experiment to use up the rest of this. And we've got, instead of using ethanol, I'm starting off with glycerol as my main base and my solvent. And we're using the same ratio of actual ecdysterone to HPBCD, hydroxypropyl beta cyclodextrin. And we're complexing that right now. Actually, this is set just a little bit high. Let's turn this down. Put this on 40. Close enough. Okay, so this will go down. But so we're going to go ahead and complex this for 8 hours at least. I might actually go a little longer than that. And then I will filter it through my glass filter and add the piper into it. So what we're working with is, I think I've got 5 grams of ecdysterone plus whatever plant sterols are left. And the ecdysterone and the plant sterols themselves are very polar, and they're going to be more attracted, as I understand it, to the beta cyclodextrin, which is also polar. So that should encapsulate, and then whatever filler or whatever else was in those capsules will be filtered out through my glass filter. I've done this before, and we should end up with a pretty good mix, probably a little stronger than what I'm even planning on there. It's going to be a little higher than 5 grams. But what I'm looking for is basically an oral syrup that I can take a teaspoon of and get 1,200 milligrams of ecdysterone per day, which will yield at 6%, something like 72 milligrams of ecdysterone actually in the system. My hope is that the complexing will yield about a 3% bioavailability from the original powder, and then the piperin should boost that up to 200%, so another double if we're lucky. So we'll find out. And here's what I'm going to do. It's somewhat anecdotal, but I've ran 2 completely different products, injectable, at around 75, 80 milligrams a day. So I'm going to try to replicate that with an oral that gives me enough overall product to get the same amount in my actual bloodstream. So if I have the same results from that, the dreams, the pumps, the vascularity, all of that stuff that I got from the injectable, if I have that from the oral, it's going to be obvious at that dose. So that's what we're going to find out. So join me later on for part 2. And by the way, we're going to be migrating to a new channel, so I'll update that. Some of these videos will be brought over. But this is my newest product. I don't think I'm going to try to push to put out any kind of transdermal or injectable. I think that's just a little too far out there, a little too mad science-y for most of the general public. And long term, we're using very safe ingredients here. This is just the ecdysterone, glycerol, and beta cyclodextrin. The beta cyclodextrin itself, if there is any left over that hasn't encapsulated, then it will actually help lower cholesterol and has some other health benefits. So stay tuned, folks. We'll see how this comes out. Okay, so today we're going to do part 2 of my first ecdysterone syrup experiment. Now this is the bottle that the mason jar that I complexed this in yesterday. I was hoping that it would reduce by about 50%. I don't think that happened. But we did get a mixture that's, well, it's glycerin, so it's a little sticky, to be honest. But what we're going to do now is filter out any of the rice flour or anything else that might have been in the capsules. Again, this is just a personal experiment. This is not, see, there's the rice flour. I see it. This is not what I would use. You know, we got a good source from China we can get kilograms from, but I'm not going to waste the good stuff on this first go around. So what we've got here is just under 200 milliliters of total volume. I'm going to pump this up and filter it. Hold on. Knock it off! My cats are going crazy today. All this hubbub, and they think this is a big fun thing to start fighting right next to where I'm filming. There we go. Now we're getting some pressure build up. Okay, I think my cats have finally calmed down, and I've got this filtered. I wanted to show you what we came up with here. It's kind of fun. I'm going to pop this off. I've removed the clamp. Look at all this. Look at all this mess here. So this is what was in the product. Just a huge amount of just worthless filler. This is all rice flour and whatnot. Just kind of shows you what's in those. Some of these capsules they say are, you know, nearly pure. Ridiculous. So, no offense to, you know, Double Woods admits they put up to 5% rice flour in. It's supposed to be at 95%. Ecdysterone, we know that's not the case. It's about 50%. There we go. Much more clear, much more translucent. Look at that. It's not whiskey, but it looks like it, doesn't it? Something like that. Now, I used a lot more, where did I put my paper towels? A lot more liquid volume than I would like to have. See, I'm not doing the final steps of reducing it all the way down to a solid again. I'm not evaporating it that far because there's no point. For me, I would like a liquid product, so this is what we ended up with here. And I'm kind of curious. I don't want to put it back in there just yet. I want to clean this filter really well with some alcohol and then find out about how many milliliters we've got left. Let me get a little bit of, well, I want to contaminate this because I do want to try this out. So we're just going to get this close. In fact, why not filter it again? This filter works pretty slick. It only takes about, I think that was about 10 minutes tops to filter 100 milliliters. Try that with a syringe filter. Good grief. It would have taken 3 years. There we go. Sure, we got a good seal there. Good seal, good seal. Now, let's see how much volume we have left after that's removed. Should be pretty close. Oh yeah, very close. Say about 180 milliliters, something like that. So what happens when we filter this again? Let's find out. We get up to about 5 psi. I clearly do not have the best seal on this at the moment. There we go. Get that flowing. There we go. There, that's a good seal. Going now. Well, we'll come back in a moment and see how that comes out. We know about how much volume we have. Again, nearly 10 times the amount of liquid to product ratio that I want. I'm looking for, something like 1,000 or 250 milligrams per milliliter or something. Because remember, we're using a high proportion of solvent, which is glycerol in this case, right? So it's completely green, completely non-toxic, totally ingestible. It's in tons of products that we eat. So we don't want to overdo it and give ourselves diarrhea. But we're looking for a product that's sweet and that contains the amount of ecdysterone we want, that's complex. We're going to add piper into it, and we're going to get hopefully about 6% bioavailability. With this, I'm just going to have to choke it down and find out if I'm getting the results that I want out of that. So we'll see what happens. Good grief. Okay, folks, that went much quicker, much less crud in the mix, okay? And this is what we're left with down here. Look how nice and amber colored that is. And that's from the type of ecdysterone it was. Ecdysterone powder, depending on purity, depending on the source of the ecdysterone, can vary in color from pure white to a medium brown. This stuff is a light brown, but when you have it in solution, and here's my filter again, you know, almost nothing obviously physical that's on there. We'll cleanse that. We'll wash that with an alcohol wash. Yep, there's some on there, but this is a nice glass filter here. Well, a cheap glass filter, but I'll take it. And here's what we've got. So, here we go. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put this into this mason jar here. And like we said, we've got just a little under 200 milliliters here. So what I'm going to do is just to taste test this, as funny as that sounds. Listen, we're making an oral product here. So I've got my coffee that I've just been drinking. It's got a little stevia in it. I'm going to put a couple of teaspoons in there. Okay. I may regret that, because in the final mix, I'm looking for something that's along the lines of 1 teaspoon per day, or maybe 2 tops, right? So let's see how this tastes here. Actually, that's not bad. That's not bad. It's just a little bit earthy. It tastes just a little bit like a chicory root or something like that. Not bad at all. I could have that in my coffee. Yeah. Little strong. Now I got a big whiff of it there. A big drink of it there, but that's good though. Not too bad. And this is the first go around, folks. This is like earliest of early days. You're getting it in real time with me. So this is not highly concentrated with ecdysterone, and I'm going to use a purer ecdysterone when I when I finalize this. I've got a really good source from China that's got kilograms for sale that have been correctly tested with HPLC and so forth. It's really been through the ringer, and we know that it's 90 to 95% pure. It's showing up just about what we're looking for here. So I'm gonna lean that direction for now, unless I find that there's a reason to go with a 50% mix. I have some reasons why that might be an option, but there are some other good things in the ecdysterone and in the plants that are good for your digestion, good for cholesterol. So we're gonna test this out for now though and see how it works. I'm gonna do a little 5-day blog or so and see what my results are using this mix at the doses that hopefully in my bloodstream that I was getting in my injections. So we're looking for 70, I think it came out about 72, 75 milligrams is what we're going to be trying to get into our system by taking in 12 to 1500 milligrams total product per day. So, well, I'm going to enjoy this coffee, and I'll check back with you next week and let you know what my results were.